Hey everyone,
Hey everyone.
I'm Kiaya, Thrifty Redhead on Instagram,
I'm Caitlin. Did I thrift that closet on Instagram?
and welcome to Flip That Jawn.
We are two full-time resellers from Philly, and this is a weekly podcast that explores the ins and outs of reselling while linking arms with the reselling community to help grow and learn from each other.
We're excited to connect with you and new voices that will help to inspire and motivate you in your reselling journey. Join us as we learn more about ourselves, each other, and our ever-growing awesome reselling community.
Hey guys, hey, and welcome to episode 11 of Flip That Jawn podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest. We got Jay in the building, Philly Jawn. Yeah, she
They can't see it, but she was throwing up the signs.
So we are super stoked on this because Jay is just an awesome person. And, you know, she Philly gang, she Philly fam. So we gotta be out here gang. Gang. So let's get it popping. Let's Jay, you want to introduce yourself to the listeners because we know about you, but let them know about you.
Sure. So where do I start? My name is Jianna, also known as Jay. You can find me on Instagram at Styled by Jay on Posh, and also on the Poshmark app as Styled by Jay. I basically am an online reseller of all things vintage and I guess like mid lux. But yeah, I love reselling and just like entrepreneurship and sustainability. And yeah, we're going to get all into that today. So yeah, I'm excited.
Hell yeah. I love that. I don't feel like I hear that term mid-lux a lot. Like, I was like, "Ooh, she fancy."
Yeah, me
Yeah,
neither.
like
I'm interested.
I don't want to say luxury because like I don't really sell like, like Louis Vuitton and Gucci, but like you can find some really dope like, like vintage maybe like Tommy Hilfiger or like a little more upscale but not luxury. You feel me?
Oh yeah, I see you with that
It's
Tommy.
the verbiage for me.
I love it. Yeah, I think too. It's like I always say, it's beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? So what one person may think is luxury may not be luxury to another person. I definitely agree with the vintage thing. We gonna be talking about the vintage, up in here.
And the luxury, because that's my weakest point. I look to Jay for luxury.
Yeah, right. So Jay,
well,
she'd go to. Yeah, ask Jay those questions appropriately in the DMs. So while we're talking about sustainability is our
real quick is Caitlin is literally like WWJD. What would Jay do?
what would yo Jay, you need
I
to make some
thought of
merch.
it. It was hilarious. Can we get some WWJD bracelets when you're looking for luxury items?
All this month we are talking about sustainability. It's a rather broad topic, but I know Jay is definitely someone that I look to as a fellow reseller in regards to that, as well as with like your upcycling work, your rework items as well, your DIY, everything she got going on. So Jay, while we're talking about sustainability, I like to ask what everyone's kind of idea or personal definition of sustainability is. So do you want to dive into kind of what sustainability means to you?
Yeah, sure. So like for me, when I think of sustainability, I think of just like kind of like working with what you have and not needing to get like more. Um just in terms of like, so like in the house, like if I need to like clean something, like I'll try and like be sustainable and like make a cleaning product with something I have in the house, like maybe some lemon and vinegar, rather than like go out and buy another cleaning product that I probably won't like or won't finish using. But yeah, so sustainability to me is just kind of like, cutting back and thinking more like consciously about how you're using the things around you.
Yo, it's the coffee grounds, Kaya. It's the coffee grounds. It's
Ew,
this.
coffee grounds. Well, I was like really debating on saving mine from last night, and I was like, I'll start tomorrow.
You can use coffee grounds instead of salt.
Yeah, like rock salt, table salt, like in the winter to melt your ice. I did not know that. Did you know that, Jay?
No, I did not know that. Usually I will use my old coffee grounds for like skin scrub and mix it with a little bit of coconut oil.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that about salt. That's good to know.
Jay, so you said that's like working with what you got, being environmentally conscious. So would you say that's a huge part of your reselling business?
Yeah, definitely. Because I don't know. I'm pretty sure you guys know this. We've talked probably about this before, but when I first started reselling, I was solely selling like wholesale and like boutique items, clothing, jewelry, all of that. And then as like I would thrift still for my closet, but it was more like personally, like for me. And then as I was going through clothing and like at the thrift, like I'll see things that are like newer things that, people will probably buy at a boutique, wear one time, and then they donate it. So I started thinking about it more and more. And I was like, I need to revolve this more into my business and be more, sustainable. So that's when I started kind of like leaning away from the wholesale and the boutique. I still do it, but just not as much, like only, jewelry, accessories, and not so much clothing. But yeah, that's definitely a big part of my business. I feel like that whole transition kind of like changed how I look at clothes and fashion.
Hell yeah. And I give it up to you guys who do the wholesale and boutique. I have not dipped my toe into that. I think it intimidates me, to be honest. But I agree. I think that's a cool, in your business, whether you're reselling, whatever you're doing as an entrepreneur, you got to have those moments in your business where you kind of, flip it and reverse it, as Missy Elliott would say, and put your own spin on it. And so whatever it is that inspires you, you just take that and make it your own. And that's what kind of sets everyone's business apart. So even though reselling is such a huge thing, and we had talked about how a lot of people in reselling will say, I got in here to be more sustainable. My business is a sustainable thing. I'm trying to get clothes out of the landfill. But, I think there's a bigger picture to it as well. So, it's taking those risks as well. Do you feel like with that transition from that wholesale, has that changed maybe how you source for your closet or what items you list in your closet?
Yeah, definitely. Like sometimes I'll be like in the thrift store and I'll find something that is something that I really, really love. Like I love it so much, but it has maybe a stain or it's damaged or whatever. But it's like, just because I love it so much, I feel like I have to get it. And that's what made me start doing the upcycling, because I feel like there's so many pieces with potential that, like, imagine it has a stain. How many people are going to pass it in the thrift and not buy it just because of that? So I started trying to incorporate that more as well. And it's like, kind of like back to what we said, but like using what you have, like just taking something and kind of making it new again. Like not new, but making it have some new life. Let's say that.
Yeah, I definitely love that. And I feel like when it comes from different people, you get something different. Everybody isn't the same. Everyone's style isn't the same. I like getting different unique items from various people. And Jay, your bleached items are dope. I got a couple of those already. So I'm like, when me and Caitlin's like, we gotta get some of those hats for they go, or if they already went.
Yeah, I have a few left.
In regards to, I want to go back to that point too you made about, if there's something you really love, but there's a stain or there is like a slight maybe like pull in a thread or a slight, I know a lot with, and Jake probably like relates to this when you're searching for vintage, when it's like a silk item, maybe it wasn't properly taken care of, or it's kind of got like a run in it. So I think that's an awesome way if you're going to be about sustainability and you want to get clothes out of a landfill. Is there a certain, sometimes you got to examine what your threshold is
Yeah.
Because I think it's easy for people to say, well, I want to sell this stuff and I want to be sustainable, but only for items that don't have a stain, or only items that don't have a run in it or a rip in it. And I think with your upcycling, I mean, I love your upcycling stuff. I love when people get in the creative pocket, they put their own artistic twist on it. I'm going to probably buy 99% more from a shop like that that's a small business than someone that's just pumping out the normal thing, because I'm just a weird person. I like weird things. Like that's my vibe. I like to have that custom pieces. So, and I think that's what you inspire. If you think about it, do you feel like there's a certain threshold when it comes into reselling for sustainability, if that makes sense? Or, and how do you feel like with your experience, did you have to overcome that threshold to kind of flip your vision, whether you're sourcing or listing or creating?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like sometimes we get in this mindset where it's like, oh, we have to source and we have to buy this many pieces to have to resell, because you're thinking about in terms of like your pocket and like you have to make that money back. But like I feel like with sustainability, like you can't say that you're sustainable and then go pick up every single item you see in the thrift store, because then that's kind of defeating the whole purpose of sustainability. You're just buying more, but like it may just sit there. So it's like I had to, I guess that's my threshold. Like I had to sit, like pull back and kind of look at everything I had and be like, okay, am I really going to use this? Am I going to sell it? Am I going to upcycle it? Am I going to do something with it? If not, I'm contributing to the problem, because then I just, you know what I mean? Like I'm just going to probably redonate it back or something like that. So I think it's important to think about all of that too with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I definitely agree. And I feel like that's something you guys know, I've been trying to work myself into with the closet. Like if I don't need it or don't, it doesn't speak to me, then I don't need it. Because I'm telling you, pandemic, I was taking everything free off the porch pickups.
Yes, me too.
I was like, it's on the porch. It's bags of clothes.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I don't care what it is. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like I literally was taking everything. This one lady, I drove all the way to Brookhaven, right? Brookhaven, it's like 35 minutes away. She had a shit ton of bags on her porch. And I had a van, so I was like, I'm packing, I'm ready to go. When I opened up those bags, when I tell you this lady had everything in there, dude, she had everything from Christmas stuff. Every holiday, she had homemade school items. She had clothes. She had dishes. She had Tupperware. I was like, all right, I ain't need all that.
Yeah.
But, a lot of the stuff I went through, I redonated back. A lot of machinery things. She had coffee makers and microwaves and toaster ovens. I was like, if it works and somebody wants it, I'll take it. I don't need it. I don't sell that stuff. I know how good that can probably go on eBay, but I don't do that stuff. So I'm just like, I'll, give it back before I, she was going to throw it in the trash. I was like, we don't want that.
Right.
Let me reach out and see who else can take it.
Yeah, and that's a point. Again, with these podcasts, I go in and then y'all like throw things at me and alter my, my train of thought. That's a thing. I mean, to be realistic, we were in a worldwide pandemic last year. A lot of us thought, oh, well, this is a fun time. My store is going to probably close. I
thought my life was over.
I think
everybody
a lot of us
was like in a panic. It's like, well, are we going to, take more stuff? Like, or like, what are we going to do? So I was doing the same thing. I was like, I'll take whatever you're giving. And I got some great stuff. I really did. But then I was at the point where I wasn't sorting it properly because I was so overwhelmed with how much it was. And I wasn't sorting like, okay, this is for donation. This is for Poshmark. This is for Mercari. Like, I was like, give me all of it.
Yeah, I think it's almost like that, I want to say like Black Friday mentality, where it's like, I don't really need another 42-inch screen TV, but it's like,
but it's $100, so
it's like $100. So I do need it. And I think that is something real as well with FOMO, in the thrift store. If you're not, I know a lot of people are now getting back after not sourcing in person. But in reality, it's very true. And even I'm thinking about it now because I've been starting to upcycle stuff as well. So if I find again like a piece that has a stain or something like that, or something that it doesn't fall under what I want to just put out into the universe vintage wise, but I know I can put my own spin on it. But I will say one thing that I recommended that I've been doing to do in my sort of systems is taking those items and say I upcycle a shirt and I crop it. I have a bin back here, which is like my fabric swap bin. And so maybe I can use the rest of that fabric to incorporate on another piece. So say I take jeans and I just, cut jean shorts, I distress them, I bleach them, whatever it is. And then I have just these random ass long leg pieces of jeans, like you can definitely take that and have different washes. Maybe I make patchwork on another thing. So that is one kind of system that I use. I definitely want to know and dive into like your upcycling work, because I think that's a really an amazing part of your business, and I think a lot of people want to get into that. So can you kind of explain your I mean, I don't want you to give me all the trade secrets, you got to keep a little bit of mystery into the creativity. You're an artist, you got to protect your work, but can you explain a little bit of your method or the bullet points of your creative process when it comes to upworking from sourcing to then the final product?
Yeah. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I have no method. Like I have no solid method. My thing is like I'll pick up pieces that speak to me. Okay, I sound like Marie Kondo, but I try to pick up pieces that spark joy. And sometimes I'll find things like two of them, like, when you're in the thrift and you're like, okay, somebody donated their closet. Like I found two of these in different colors and they're the same brand, same size. Stuff like that I'll pick up. And then I'll get home and instead of listing it, I'll be like, I think this would be like more interesting. So like for example, I picked up recently two like Champion vintage like crew neck sweatshirts. And actually I'm lying, it was three of them. So one was gray, one was burgundy, and one was navy, and they were all the same size. And the price that I got them at was like a decent thrift price, but it could have been better. It's like it was higher than my typical margin of what I spend per item. So when I got home and I looked at the pieces, I was like, okay, I can either throw these on Poshmark and they're gonna sit forever because the price that I want for them, it's probably not gonna sell as fast. You know what I mean? Or I can upcycle them and maybe combine them together since they're all the same sweater. So what I did was I just took like strips and kind of did like a patchwork style type of like 90s vibe, like striped sweatshirt. But I guess you could say that's my method. Like I don't go into the thrift store and like see something per se, like unless it's something that's like I know is stained and I know it's like I can do something or I can fix it or I can make it look cool or put a patch on it or something like that. That's really my only like method. Like I don't really like there's not like specific things that I'll necessarily buy just to upcycle it unless I see that potential ahead of time.
Yo, Jim, because I need to hear that, because I feel like I easily get stuck in like I have to have a method to it, but with upcycling it really is creating pieces of art, and you can't force that sometimes.
Yeah.
You just have to let it come. You have Jay coming through with that 90s color block. She'd tell me I'm getting my fingers ready to like go find it. I think that's a good way. I will say I think that is a method, because I think that is a method of how many times, okay, like you come home, you say you find this item, because it happens to all of us, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, this piece is in great condition. You look at it like 700 times in the thrift store, then you get home and you find that one flaw.
Yeah.
You're like, how the hell did I miss this? In like 7 different types of lighting and 7 different areas of the store that I examined it. So I think that is a method, because then it's taking that inventory that you've already purchased and then, maybe with the intention of listing it on a Poshmark or listing it on a platform as is, but then you're not just going to redonate that back. You're going to put your own twist.
Mhm.
So I think that is a system. So you have that system in place for when you have items that have a flaw that maybe you missed, which I think people need to realize that. Like, invest in a sewing machine, invest in like patches, like invest in fabric glue, like, yo, ball out at Michael's with me. For
Patches right here.
yes, like because there are opportunities. Just because it doesn't show up in your hands 100% perfect does not diminish the value.
Exactly.
And I think for me that was like, okay, I'm gonna get a sewing machine. So what's the difference? Like, I'll note it in a listing. I'll tell people like, hey, I had to sew up this, like, pole or whatever, but it's still the same shirt. Or I just put my own twist, and you're gonna get a one of a kind thing, which is like nobody else has it this way. So you're saving something and then also offering like a one of a kind, which is a really awesome opportunity for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know about your sewing game, Jay. What you work with? What's your sewing machine life like?
Me too. I need to be about that sewing life.
So I actually just got that sewing machine in December as a Christmas gift, and I'm like a very beginner like sewing person. I took a class in high school, and that's about all I remember from there is like the basics, and I just go and I just start messing with it. What type of machine is it? It's a Brother Project Runway something sewing machine. I don't know. It was a good price. But
Making
yeah,
it work over there.
I'm trying to get more advanced. Honestly, I just watch YouTube videos and like TikToks and try and catch on. Just practice.
Yeah, I think people, Ladybug's like, yes, Jay, sew it up. She's like, make it work. You weren't using that Project Runway 1. But I think that's true. I think a lot of people, me and Kai, have had this discussion about a sewing machine. I, too, only remember sewing from, like, back in the day, taking home ec, living behind, by a Joann Fabrics, where this is going to age me, but I remember going through and looking through the giant bins of, like, fabric patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they used to come in the paper things, and you had to, like, had the weird stock, like, Mormon people on the cover, and I was like, what is going on? No shade against them, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the little patterns. I have like 2 of them.
But then I feel like, flash forward to, like, 2021, Caitlin is like, I don't want to say lazy because I don't want to talk negative about myself, but it's kind of true. Like, because you can just be like, oh, I can just go pay someone like at a tailor to fix this. But I think it comes from like this fear of like intimidating or like ruining the piece. And it's like sometimes when I don't know, Jay, if you've had this experience, but definitely like I've accidentally sewn something and it's messed it up, but it makes it look cooler.
Oh yeah, all the time. I just sewed my I wish I could show you him because he was just here being bad. But my cat, he has skin allergies, so I have to sew him like little like sleeves on his t-shirts, and I sewed them inside out so you can see the it's like a reverse seam and it sticks out and it looks like he has little wings on his arm, but it's like cute, like it's different. It's like little flaps. I wish I could show you him. He just walked
Yo, your cat probably be like, what is she doing today?
Yeah.
like
over.
I want Ladybug to have wings on a onesie. That's amazing. But it's true. It's like I feel like hems, like exposed hems or like different colored hem colors with threads. Like I've done things where I'm like, oh wait, this color does not match at all on here, but then you look at other like brands and it's like they're making mad money that way.
Right.
And we live in a time too where like there are plenty of resources. There are plenty of people to ask. Like you said, YouTube, TikTok, like I feel like people are afraid to try on that because they don't want to be critiqued or they don't want to be judged if they messed it up. But I think the beauty of those Upwork pieces is that everyone can bring something different to the table. And it's the beauty of trying it. So do you feel like there is like a fear or like a lack of upworking because they feel like people might feel like that they're not good enough to do that?
Yeah, probably. I feel like I think just too with social media, a lot of people feel like things need to be perfect. Because I know I'm like that. Like when I'm trying to start this pet line, and I feel like everything has to be like perfect. But it's like in reality, sometimes you have to make a couple mistakes just to like, learn from it and get that fear out of your head. But I think that's definitely what it is. Some people probably just are also overwhelmed by where to start. Like, how do I upcycle this? Like, I don't want it to look bad, but you know, you make a mistake, you can always take the seam out and start over. So
Yeah, or I just told Kai, like, not everyone, I know all three of us, we all have different styles. Like, we have similarities on things, but we all have different styles, and that's what's great. Because, like, you can go to Jay and get a certain style, you can go to me, you can get a certain style, you go to Kai, you get a certain style. Like, you can have what, like, Lauren said, a piecemeal of, like, every kind of thing. But, like, I've told Kaya, because we've had this conversation, she's like, I don't know where to start with this sewing machine, I don't know what to do. And I think with upcycling, it's not everyone's gonna vibe with you, right? So not everyone's gonna ride with you on a piece, but it's, to me, I view it like a painting, right? There's a reason why we have different types of art, different periods of art. Personally, I don't like classical pieces of like portrait art, but I love abstract art. Like, and that's my thing, and I rock with it, and that's cool. But there's a reason why, art is a movement, because there's something for everybody to offer. So I think upcycling is kind of like that. Like, you could have some weird bleach Jason, like Pollock inspired stuff. Someone might not rock with it, but someone might like that, versus like a different feeling.
yeah.
Kaya, we hyping you up to get a sewing machine is basically what we're saying. It's
dude, Amazon or Michael's. I'm quick with the fingers. I will quickly buy one in an instant. But I have not, because I'm like, I don't know which one to get. It's like so many things out there. It's like a cricket. Don't know which one to buy, and I don't want to shoot my money out there and get the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm just like getting the reviews from you sewers out there. Will encourage me. I have a hand stitch Jawn. It's quick. Like, I use that, but it's not nothing heavy duty.
So Jay, if you want to talk about, do you want to talk a little bit about your process with your pet line? Because I know that's a big thing going on.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my process with that is it's like a branch off of, I guess, my like Poshmark and reselling business. So like items that I've had that like haven't sold, or like items like you said, when you get home from the thrift and you looked at it 1,000 times, but yep, it has a stain. Like, I'll take pieces like that and I'll use them for upcycling, or I'll just take like my own personal. I have so many t-shirts. Like, how we just get free t-shirts for every little thing? I'm sick of these t-shirts. So I started taking them and putting them on him, on my cat, because of his skin allergy. But that's really my only process with that, is trying to just reuse pieces.
Do you make when you start making your patterns and stuff, do you do it based on your cat size, or do you like take maybe like a couple inches off, like, oh, it's a cat smaller than this out there, let me just do that one too?
Yeah, like for him, I had actually purchased like a couple, like just like shirts and like those little like onesie sleeveless type shirts online, and they fit him perfectly, but like they were like cheap, like polyester material, and I hated that. And I was like, okay, he needs something with cotton. So I just basically cut apart the shirt and just used it like my pattern. And when I make the bigger sizes for like dogs, I just add a couple inches, or I'll use like my boyfriend's dog, even though he hates it. I'll like shove a measuring tape around him until he runs away.
So Jay, I want to know, because I think a lot of people, like we said, they don't really know where to start. What would be your biggest advice of like, for you, coming from you personally, we all don't have all the answers. We try, but for you personally, what would you say is like the jump off part for somebody who maybe wants to be more sustainable, or they want to go into upcycling? What would you say for you would recommend to somebody in that aspect?
I would say start with what you have. Like, don't go out and go try and buy things to be more sustainable, if that makes sense. Unless you're like swapping things out. Like for me, I started really small with like just like lifestyle things. Like, okay, I'm gonna stop using um like saran wrap and stuff like that. Like I'm gonna buy like the reusable lids instead. Like it's like little things like that I started changing. But you, like you said, you can't change everything all at once. And then for upcycling, start with what you have. Like if you have a shirt that you really love at home and maybe it doesn't fit you anymore, or it got a stain on it, start with that and just add to it from there.
Also, one thing I want to add to this, because I know it's in everyone's back of the mind, and I'm just going to say it. So when you're when you're selling, when you're listing like an upcycled item, what is your thought process behind the pricing of that? Because I feel like a lot of people maybe undermine the value of their time and their work. So
Yeah.
do you have a concept of how you kind of do your price or your comps in relation to your upcycle work?
That's a little bit hard. How I do it is like, of course, I have to include the price of the item if it's something I paid for. And then from there, I try to calculate in my time. Like, did it take me an hour to sew this, or did it take me like 3 days? Like, was it something that I was doing like a project, or did I just do it real quickly? Like, for example, when I do the bleached t-shirts and the hats, it's hard for me to price them because a lot of the times I'm not buying the items all at the same time. So they all have like a different price point for my like cost of goods. So what I do is I kind of average it out, and I'll say like ballpark, like, okay, let's say I paid $5 per t-shirt. Let's just say that. I'll start with like, I do the t-shirts and the hats in batches. So like if it's like a nice sunny day, like I'll try and do like 10 of the shirts, 10 hats, if that's what I have available. Usually that's like an hour to bleach them, and then it's like another 30 minutes to wash, rinse, and then on top of that, then there's like drying time, then there's packaging. So all of that I try to include into it. So let's say like I paid maybe like 5, I probably would price them at like 40 starting. But then of course you have to consider shipping. So like I like to include shipping. I'll say it's 40 free ship, or it's this free ship. And then whatever doesn't sell initially, then I'll drop the price down. But I definitely like to include my time, how long it took me to make the item, and like the average cost, or like an estimate.
Follow-up question on my TED Talk. So no, I love it because it's something that I definitely, and I think a lot of people struggle with. They, again, maybe get over that hump of being that fear of messing up the item, but it's like, okay, now where do I find that middle ground where I'm valued? Do you find that when you're selling those upcycled items, or the items that you took time, right? Like maybe you hand sewed something, that's a lot of time. Or you had to go out and, get the supplies, like the thread, the glue, the patches, like all that kind of, the bleach, everything that comes with it, for just that piece. Do you feel like when you decide to make that decision to put that out in the universe to sell, that you need to stick to your guns essentially, or you need to have that confidence before you need to have that moment of confidence? Okay, I'm going to list this and I know that I'm valued at this, and you kind of stick it out at that price so that you are continuing to add depth and value to those items. Like, does that make sense? Like, do you, I guess the general question is like, do you feel like you have to be flexible with that? Like take a lot of offers, or do you just kind of let it go, like let it stay where it is and wait for the right buyer to come?
It depends. So like I usually will wait for the right buyer. Like I have some items that I bleached last year and like they're still for sale. But I know that somebody will come along and be like, "Oh, I need this shirt. Like I have to have it." And they'll either send me an offer or they'll buy it at the price that I have it, and I'm fine with that. But if it's something where I'm like in a crunch and I just need to get rid of it, or I need like just to make the sale because it's still profit and not necessarily what I want to make, then I will accept the offer. But like you said, I feel like you have to like value your work and your time. Like if it's something that I feel like I made and I don't like it that much, or I just don't value it that much, then I'll be like, yeah, you can have it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it just popped in my brain because very similar to, going back to that whole luxury point. One of the things that I think a lot of people are scared with luxury or upworking or that creative process is that it might sit longer
Mm-hmm.
and not be automatically picked up. So I think people are like, if I spend 3 days on this thing, I want it to go out the door because I want everyone to see it with the same eyes and the same value that I have, where it might be an item that sits for 6 months because you want to stick to your guns on that pricing. So I just think it's an interesting point.
Yeah. It's hard to decide. Like I feel like it's just up to you and how I feel like sometimes there's a little bit of personal attachment to an item too that can happen. Like I've had this camo jacket that I bought from Jomar like over a year ago. It's like a great jacket. It has a little bit of flaws, but I feel like for the type of jacket it is, like it shouldn't matter. Like, it's a camo jacket. Like you want it to have a little bit of wear. It gives it like I feel like a more authentic look. And I stuck to my guns and like held on to it at that price and it still has not sold. Like I'm trying to get rid of it. It has so many likes. And I feel like that was a mistake I made where I'm like, oh, I have to stick to my guns and sell it at this price. Otherwise I'm not gonna make money. But sometimes you just have to you have to give that up and just let go of that attachment. So long story short, now what I'm doing with it is I'm gonna upcycle it because it has like a weird thing with the sleeves. It's like it looks like somebody cut like a little box in the sleeve. It's weird, but I'm just gonna patch it and like put some like denim or something on there. And hopefully it'll move now.
Yeah, I think it's a valid point, and I think we're all in this chat in the same vibe where I like a little wear to my stuff because I like to have pieces where I feel like I'm continuing the story.
Yeah.
So I'd like to have a little bit of life, a little bit of rough edge to my stuff. That's just me. I know that not everybody vibes like that, and that's cool. But I think definitely too, because I think it's so easy to be like, I want to value my time, but I also want to make the money.
Mhm.
So I think you can do both. And I think a lot of people maybe struggle with that insecurity of, are people going to hate this piece and should I just get it moved? And when it's like, in reality, if you look at big brands or you look at again, art, like there's a reason why those pieces of art are like mad money, right? Like it ain't like you can go in and buy a Van Gogh for $25, right? Yeah. You have to if so, it probably ain't real. but I think, there's something about saying that longevity of having upcycling work where maybe it sits in there and you kind of are building a collection and you're building integrity to that brand. So, I just think it's an interesting point because I think people struggle with that. I know personally I've been thinking about okay, how do I kind of price it in that way? So I appreciate you sharing that because I definitely have to value my time, my work a lot more. So I think a lot of people need to hear that.
Here with my notepad and my pen taking notes like I'm in school or something. But I did have a question for you, Jay. One thing we like to ask our guests is what kind of what are your favorite tools you have or reselling sources? So I know I definitely want to get that tip from you, especially with all that you do with upcycling, with your in your mid lux I love that verbiage. That mid-lux items. What do you use? Like, do you really find that at certain stores, or like do you resource? I feel like resourcing out is better with that item, with that type of stuff.
Tools like what type of tools?
Like sourcing tools for me. That's my question.
Oh, okay.
So like your sourcing tools, like do you like source out more so at thrift stores, or do you have like a back pocket person?
Yeah, lately I've been mostly just like thrift stores and thrift hopping, or like buy sell trade stores like Plato's Closet, or what's that other store? Like Style Encore, some stores like that. But I used to mainly source like the bag sales. But ever since, the pandemic, I haven't been to
Right.
one. For vintage, I like to go to like bulk stores.
Yeah.
Or like I guess they call them like rag houses. It's literally just like piles of clothes that you just dig through.
That's like a dream.
It really is. Until you find something that's like dingy and then you're like, "Ooh, did I just touch that?" Yeah, but I feel like I want to start doing more too of like the bins. I haven't
Yeah.
done bins in like over a year.
I want to. So do you source out only in Philly? Do you like go as far like the tri-state? Are you like willing to travel to source? I want
Yeah,
to do that.
I'm always down to travel. I feel like lately I haven't, but like before like COVID and everything last year, like say like for the weekend, I was like, I don't know, taking a trip to like DC or New York or something with my friends. I'll always try and stop at a thrift store, or like if I'm going somewhere like date night or whatever, my boyfriend, we pass like a like Goodwill or whatever. But like, can we stop? Like, can we stop here if it's a place I've never been to? But I'm not really like super adventurous. Like lately, I want to be more. Because I think you could find really cool stuff in new places. Um, but then sometimes I do find like a random little thrift store and I just don't have a good experience. So then I stop doing that for a while. Or like I don't find anything, or it'll be like what I like to call an old lady Goodwill, which is like full of nursing home attire. Um, but it's like that's pretty much it. Yeah. I used to also source like um online a little bit, like retail arbitrage, but it just doesn't really work well for me. So I kind of stopped that. I'm more of a thrift store kind of guy.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that thrift trip together, guys, because I know Jay was like, I need more friends to shop with, but like nobody can hang for a day. And I was like, girl, why have you not
Girl,
hit up me
we
and
hang
Kyle?
for days. We
Yeah.
literally leave out like 9 a.m. We don't come back till like 6, 7. And we've
And
been out
that's
for the
how I
whole
am.
work day.
And
Yeah.
I'm also like, let's go in and we'll be like in total, like we're not like doing it together. We're just in
We
the same
synchronize
building.
watches. Like we'll meet back here.
We'll like roll
And
past each other and I'll be like, hi, why
like,
you have like a
hey.
mountain of denim? Like, and then just, you know.
I like that though. That's how it was when we went to the super thrift. We were not planning to go in, Jay, and it was just like it was there in the same parking lot as the Dollar Tree. So I was like, we gotta stop it. We was like, oh, we'll just go check it out. We went in there, our eyes lit up. We was
Right?
like,
It's
No,
weird.
Kaya, we were driving and I go, what is that?
yeah, we really did. I was like, wait, I'm supposed to keep my eyes on the road. I
And I
can't
said,
do this.
I'm only gonna go in for like t-shirts. I feel like
We
this is a good
went
place
in
for
there.
vintage.
I said, Lord, take all my money right now because my cart was full of shoes.
Yeah. They have so much good stuff. I actually just got my a new steamer from there for $10.
Oh, yes.
I was
Yeah.
gonna ask that, Jay, with your stuff, have you dabbled into anything like outside of clothing, like maybe like home to, because I Instagram
Yes.
stalk your stories and I see you pick up like vintage stuff there at the super thrift that's like maybe in the home section.
Yeah.
So can you explain a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, I'm not super big on home decor, but I do like if I see something that speaks to me, I'll definitely grab it. Like I have this weird thing with like I collect I don't even want to say I collect them, but I buy things with the intention of reselling them. Like these little crystal like I guess they're like they kind of look like ashtrays or like little like just bowls that you could put like change or keys in or something. And I have like 5 of them that I've just picked up throughout the thrift trips. And it's like, I eventually probably will list them, but I kind of just like looking at them and having them in my house. But so I do a little bit of home decor. Like I've sold a couple of like baskets, kind of like I guess people use them for like planters or just like home decor. Like I found this really weird one the other day. It's called a porcupine basket, and it has like this weird weave where the basket like pokes out towards you, which I thought it just was interesting. I was like, I've never seen this type of pattern before. Like I need to buy this. But it's not something that I like list with the intention of like making big bank or like anything like that. It's just something that I just get like if I like it.
All I could think about was, I was like, Jay's gonna have a case of her little crystal bowls, and then Lauren with her case of birds. And I'm like, I love how everybody has just like this one thing that they just vibe with, and they just have a case, and it's like we're all crazy guys. Like I'm just waiting for Jay to have like, you know, that like vintage like china cabinets with just all these like crystal bowls. But girl, when you said that, I was like, same. I literally looked over and I have an entire pile of home decor that I picked up with the
She is a wicker freak. She loves the wicker anything.
I've had to stop myself because I just found out in Philly.
Coffee table wasn't it a wicker coffee table?
$8. Yep. No, it wasn't a coffee. It wasn't a coffee table. It was that seat, and I picked it up. I said, "Kai, you have a car. We bring."
I was like, "Girl, bye." You know what it reminded me of, Jay? And Jay knows this because she's Spanish. To quinceañera, you know how to get those wicker chairs when you're like 15 and they decorate them.
Show you
with the, I know. Look, do you got the wicker? See, she has a wicker. She has a wicker chair.
Oh my God!
I'm telling you, a quinceañera or a Caitlin, didn't I tell you that? I said my mom forced me into the goddamn wicker chair every pregnancy, every baby shower. I was like, I'm gonna sit in this thing, it's gonna poke me in my ass. Like, I don't like it. I'm telling you.
Chair. We definitely disagree on the wicker.
But I was like, Caitlin, don't do it. Don't get the wicker chair. You're gonna regret it. I don't know what
it is. I feel like that's the one thing that I kind of hoard in my life is like home decor. But to my point with the wicker, Kiaya with her basket game over here, she'll have like 27 baskets in her car, and I'm like, what do you need this many baskets for?
I love the basket, like seriously, bro. Like, look at this one.
But
see, beautiful basket.
But I bring that up too because I feel like that's a thing that's popping up. I actually just learned I have to stop myself. I haven't been there because I'll probably be broke and just living in a house of wicker, and nobody will be friends with me. But there is a secondhand store in Philly that only sells wicker item furniture. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you. Look, if y'all ever want to see the collapse of my life.
Wait, they only sell wicker items?
Only wicker items. Thank you,
They made that store for you.
Yeah, they made. That's what I'm telling you. If you want to see the downfall of my life, I'm living on the street in a wicker chair.
In a wicker chair, in a wicker house.
But I think that's a thing that people want to do, and I definitely agree. I think every reseller has that one thing that they pick up with that intention of flipping, and then you just end up with a giant pile of it, and it becomes your like jam. So I don't think that's like
your Jim and Jam.
So we all need to collectively get together and unhoard that. Man,
I can't believe there's a wicker store though.
I know, I can't go there. I saw it on TikTok. This girl, she's from Philly. She's also a reseller, but she does like different areas in the city, like apartments or restaurants or spots. It's really cool, especially in Philly. There's always those spots you don't know about. Like there's always a little nook that you're like, oh wow. And she was like, oh, today I'm gonna show you this entire wicker store, and I was like, girl.
Kayla's like, when, where, who, where, and
I was like, don't even give me this address because these people are gonna be sick of me. They're gonna love me, or they're gonna be sick of me. But I think that's interesting. I wanted to pick your brain on that because I know that you also are in the vintage community as well. So that's definitely, but I think home decor, that's a sustainability thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's another part to be sustainable instead of going out and buying, I don't know, like a West Elm $600 item.
Definitely.
First of all, I ain't doing that anyway.
Right.
That shit's expensive.
So expensive. I just bought the other day, actually. It was expensive for me in my eyes because, like, let's be real, we're thrifters. So, like, when you see something at the thrift store, you're like, "That's $6.99." But then it was like a mini like cast iron pot, like, or pan, brand new, like tags and everything, heavyweight, nice. And I was like, "Ooh, $6.99. That's kind of pricey." But then I thought about it. I'm like, hello, this would be like $60 probably at a store. I still haven't used it yet.
Oh my God, cast
I'll
iron.
take it though. Cast iron, it's like,
And it's
that's
funny because,
legit.
like you said, in everyone's eyes different. Because you're saying $6.99, I'm like, girl, that's a deal.
Right.
No, we're thrifters. I still be in the thrift store thrifting. Like, I still be looking at stuff like, oh, I can't pay this $2.99. It's $1 day.
Yeah.
Nope, it's not $1. I'm not taking it. I'm straight in the dollar stuff.
Again, everyone has those thresholds, and I think with in regards to home decor and sustainability, I think that's an awesome way to make those small changes. I know when we moved into this house, first of all, Marty's like, we don't ever pay for anything in full because you will find it, eventually. If it's not today, tomorrow, you'll find it on your thrift trip. But we, subconsciously, we consciously made the decision that we want to have things in our house. It's, again, not 100% attainable. I feel like it's hard to do that, but we're going to start small. But we want to bring everything in, whether it's furniture, whether it's like our couch. We, obviously be smart. Don't get a bed bug infested couch, but we made the decision to have everything be secondhand or thrifted in our house. So whether that's furniture, whether pots and pans, look, I'm telling y'all, Goodwill for like the cast iron, Goodwill for pots and pans. When you move into a new house,
Yeah.
clutch. Or like, I try to find really nice stuff. Like if I know my friends are getting married or they're buying a house, like I'm not going to give them like a horrible cast, disfigured item unless that's their thing. But like that's an option to use as well, instead of like balling out on, because when people get married, when people have kids, or like they get buy a house, like those housewarming gifts can be just as expensive. So you can definitely make it secondhand and sustainable, and then you're continuing this cycle. And I think that's a small thing that people can do, right? Like,
for sure. When we moved in this house, I straight up furnished everything from Craigslist for free.
Yeah.
I was every item I wanted, I put it in there, and I found it in the area. I went and got it, and it was like, it was here. And I love refurbishing, so I'll refurbish and DIY something in a heartbeat.
Right. Instead of buying like something at IKEA that's gonna fall apart within a year, like,
because Lord, has that happened?
Right.
Broken a bed just by sitting on it.
Right.
Like,
anything from IKEA, like
that was like
it's like dollhouse furniture, like the dollhouse, the brown dollhouse is dollhouse furniture.
Yo, true fact, that's how we got to that decision, because Marty was like, I'm now 35. I'm out of the age range to buy IKEA furniture. Like, I'm a real adult. If I'm gonna get furniture, like I'm gonna get real furniture, not something I have to replace in 2 years and end up paying more for it. So, and I think I don't know if that's like, I was like, are you having a midlife crisis in regards to IKEA? Like, what is but like,
nah, Marty's just
because he was like,
I love it.
We gonna build this and this. I'm like, oh, all right. Like, I am down for weekend projects. Let's go. That's like all of what I'm doing. But Jay, I want to ask you this, because I don't know why thresholds is like the buzzword for me, but again, I think everyone has this thresholds when it comes to upcycling. Like they don't want to do it. So is there anything in your process in regards to upcycling that you're like, nah, family, that's no for me, dog. Like, I ain't messing with that kind of process, sort of thing?
one thing like I wanted to get into, but I just can't because I feel like I need more like tools, I guess, and experience is like I really want to upcycle like denim, but I feel like I'm gonna break my sewing machine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have an industrial sewing machine, and I'm just worried that I'm gonna like do something wrong. But I don't want to say no, I'm not messing with it because I might change my mind. But for now, no, I'm not messing with it.
Valid point. I get that. I have like a portable sewing, like you have like the good machine in my eyes because I have like the portable beginner's version of a machine that was like $60. So every time I put denim on the thing, I'm like, this may be the last day that you're alive.
Right.
But you're gonna go out with a bang, sis. Like, or I'm just gonna buy like 1,000,000 replacement needles and end up shoving more money into this $60 sewing machine. But I think that's again, the beauty of it is like maybe you don't want to do that, but there's somebody out there that maybe does have that industrial denim sewing machine and they can do it, and then that's how you again continue the supporting of other resellers, you know. Yeah. So
it's what is the focus of your business? So when I was asked this question, I really was like really about to jut out an answer, and then I had to retract, and I was like, wait, what is the focus of my business? Like, what am I doing? What am I trying to do? I was like lost. I was in Narnia. So what is the focus of your business? Like, where's it going?
Ooh, that is a loaded question.
See, it's good.
I think that's what I love about reselling is I feel like you can change it up as you please and put it in the direction that you want. So right now my direction is more curated like vintage pieces and looks. Like I want to be able to go on Instagram and post outfits and people buy the whole look. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want it to have that type of vibe. Like not like oh, do you have a gray sweater that I can buy? Like I want it to be very specific, and I want people to be able to get like a whole vibe when they buy something. Like I want them to, feel it and like feel good in it and want that feeling again so that they're return customers. So I guess that's my focus, being more like streamlined with what I pick up. I also want to do like I want to have like once I move into this new space, like I want to be able to have people come in and like try things on and like see what they like and like, touch the pieces and like be able to like, like try it on, style a look, like just see how they feel about like the brand and like what they're getting out of it. So I guess that's my focus, like just trying to be more about my customer and like what people feel good in. I guess to shorten it, long story short, that's what I mean.
Very loaded question. Jay, I love that. I love that, especially with the curated things. Because I'm trying to do that myself too. One thing that I've been loving to do is I get like someone with completely different eyes than me. So I'll pull Marty in to look at a rack of stuff. Like because I look at these items day in, day out, like sometimes you just get stuck in there. And like literally Marty has just been coming in and again, Marty is a Delco dude that would wear sweatpants every day and like he doesn't like fashion is not a huge thing for him. Like he's not a reseller, like he respects it, but he's not gonna ball out on like a luxury item. I say simple, but not in a bad way. Like that's a really great thing too. Very sustainable. But I'll have him and he'll just pull stuff from a rack and he'll be like, yo, like he was like, I'm going to give you guys this, like nobody in this podcast take this idea. It's copyright. But he was looking at my old stuff that I want to throw out a window. And he was like, yo, this stuff, if you pulled it together, is literally you could do like he was like, okay, Law and Order is coming back, like Stabler's coming back. He said that all these blazers you could do a whole Law and Order drop where you like base it or like blazers and button ups and like make it fun, put like pose it like how Stabler would be, use a caption like, do you know I have 5 daughters? Like, You know, like
Just used to back on doo, 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 doo.
so I think sometimes when you bring someone with like that outside perspective, like he literally was just pulling things like, look, this, like this is what the vibe gives to me. So sometimes I think reaching out to someone with an outside perspective, or like you said with your customers, like going to your customers, what do you guys want? Like, what are you guys into? Like, what have you been vibing with lately? And then you kind of run with that because you're putting your own spin, but then you're also giving them what they want.
Mhm.
Y'all, if I see any Law and Order SVU drops on your page, I'm gonna call Benson. I'm like, listen. But I mean, I think that's one thing I'm trying to do too, is like use that outside perspective, you know, because those are pieces I'd rather just throw off the Ben Franklin Bridge and never see again. Float them in the Schuylkill. Maybe they'll die. Maybe they'll come out with an arm attached to it. I don't know. But like, maybe grow a funky design from the Schuylkill River. But again, those are pieces I hate, but those are pieces that can be switched into like some sort of curated idea. Anyways, that is my TED Talk about Law and Order. I was just trying to hype up Detective Stabler. Free plug. Where my brand money at, NBC?
I'm about that Stabler and Benson life.
Jay, you got a lot of stuff going on. You got the pet line stuff going on. So as we tend to wrap up this interview, is there places that you want people to drop you a follow? You want people to keep you updated on those curated vintage collections on the pet line? Drop your stuff. Let them know where they can go.
Okay, yeah, I mostly post anytime I'm going to drop something on Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram at Style by J on Posh. I also do a lot of posts on like TikTok. Anytime I'm going to drop like a kind of like the more curated looks and styles, I'm going to be dropping that on there. And that's also Style by J _ at the end. And then I'm also on, you can find me on Clubhouse. You can find me on Twitter. It's all under Style by J. So I'm everywhere. But I mostly will post on like Instagram and TikToks when I'm doing new drops.
Thank you guys so much for coming back and hanging out with Caitlin and I on another episode of Flip That Jawn. We hope that you enjoyed listening to Jianna at Style by J on Posh just as much as we enjoyed talking with her. We know that it provided you with some food for thought to keep growing in your own business journey. Next week, come along with us as we talk with our special guest, Tamsin, at Tamsin's Threads on Instagram. Tamsin will be discussing sustainability, her reselling journey, and how the reseller community impacted her business. Be sure to hang with us again next week, y'all. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up.